The only time people say they're not with somebody is when they get busted. And yeah, I was told by Aaliyah, do not shake, ruffle no feathers, because it's going to bring more awareness to it, and she wanted to move on. So she said,
what we've done was, forever be, stamped in history. Like
what we've done was, forever be, stamped in history. Like we created something that's going to go down forever. So it's I can only have love for D. I was surprised it took so long for something to happen to you on what I was. Dame Dash recently made a shocking revelation about Jay-Z and Aaliyah that's bound to leave you stunned. According to Dame, Jay-Z didn't just have a relationship with Aaliyah, he actually pulled her into it, and the truth behind their connection is far darker than we ever imagined. Was it really love, or was there something more sinister at play? Let's dive into what Dame is uncovering about Jay-Z, Aaliyah, and the hidden world no one discusses. Dame Dash has opened up about how he was aware of Aaliyah being manipulated by Jay-Z, but what's even more startling? Even more shocking, Dame Dash revealed disturbing truths about the power dynamics at play. According to Dame, Aaliyah was more than just a friend to him, they were deeply in love, and he had been her protector for years. However, when Jay-Z began pursuing Aaliyah, things quickly turned toxic. Dame says it went much deeper and darker than anyone realized. I don't care what you wanted, whether you wanted to get away from your homie or your partner, but the way he did it was malicious, Dame said. It's no secret that Jay-Z's actions. Jay-Z's history with women has always been, let's say, complicated. He has long been connected to several younger women, with his past relationship with Foxy Brown making headlines. There have also been ongoing rumors about Jay-Z and an underage girl, raising even more questions about his interactions with young women in the industry. So what if we told you that Jay-Z might have lured Aaliyah into a relationship, taking advantage of her vulnerable position in the industry? Yep, that's what Dame Dash is suggesting. Dame Dash's claims might not be as far-fetched as they first seemed when we take a closer look at the evidence. The darker side of Jay-Z's history with women raises serious concerns. When we talk about Jay-Z's connections with younger women, we're not just referring to rumors. There are multiple accusations, reports, and even allegations that make it clear his relationships with certain women have been problematic, to say the least. In the case of Aaliyah, Dame Dash confirmed that the 15-year-old singer was already in a troubled place after. Aaliyah's past with R. Kelly is key to understanding the troubling dynamics. Remember, R. Kelly was not only her mentor but also her abuser. They were even married when she was just 15, a marriage that was later annulled following public outrage. Aaliyah was deeply hurt by her experiences, and Jay-Z's actions didn't help her healing process. According to Dame Dash, Jay-Z and Aaliyah's relationship was nothing like the narrative we've been given. While it may have appeared to be a friendly connection or a simple industry relationship on the surface, Dame revealed that Aaliyah was... At the time, Jay-Z was already an established superstar, while Aaliyah was still in the process of growing into her legacy. But let's be honest, Jay-Z had power and Aaliyah didn't. As Dame Dash pointed out, when you're dealing with someone like Jay-Z, who has the entire industry backing him, it's not easy to say no. We're talking about a man who literally had the music world in his hands. He was everywhere. When Jay-Z started sending flowers, making grand gestures, and aggressively pursuing Aaliyah, he was uncomfortable with Jay-Z's advances and didn't want to. It was clear that what could she do? According to Dame Dash, Aaliyah had to play the game because that's what the industry demanded. Jay-Z was pursuing her, and Dame didn't know he was sending flowers or courting her at the time. But here's the real kicker: while Jay-Z was busy trying to win Aaliyah over, he was simultaneously ignoring her trauma, specifically her past with R. Kelly, a man who has been notorious for preying on young girls for decades. Dame Dash has been outspoken about how Aaliyah was deeply scarred by her experiences with R. Kelly. Dame Dash recalls how Aaliyah would confide in him about how awful that period of her life was, particularly her experience with R. Kelly. She opened up about the deep pain she endured, but what did Jay-Z do? He continued to work with R. Kelly. In fact, they even collaborated on the Best of Both Worlds album and tour. When Dame found out, he was furious, and rightfully so. Aaliyah was close to Dame and had been deeply hurt by R. Kelly. She wanted nothing to do with him. Yet, her former industry peers were still in business with the man who had caused her so much pain. Dame Dash expresses his outrage, saying, "You're working on a project with someone who you know raped your partner's girl when she was a child, and you still claim it has nothing to do with you while continuing to make money with him. It doesn't sit right." It's one thing to ignore the allegations, but to publicly partner with R. Kelly, a man who allegedly harmed Aaliyah, shows a disturbing lack of empathy. To make matters worse, Dame says Jay-Z never spoke out against R. Kelly's actions. He remained silent, even as new revelations about R. Kelly were surfacing. This eventually led to a major falling out between Dame and Jay-Z. Dame firmly believes that anyone with a shred of humanity couldn't look the other way in such a situation. He says a man should stop calling himself a man if he can hang out with someone who would work with the person who hurt the one they love now. Let's shift to something that's been buzzing in the background. Jaguar writes recent claims about Jay-Z and Aaliyah. And trust me, her perspective adds serious fuel to the fire. According to Jaguar, the timeline surrounding Jay's. Jaguar Wright claims that Jay-Z's involvement with Aaliyah is far more sinister than we initially thought. After everything went down with R. Kelly and Aaliyah's annulled marriage, Jay-Z's interest in her seemed to intensify, especially as she spent more time in New York. But here's the catch: Aaliyah didn't want any part of it. She wasn't feeling him that way, and for Jay-Z, rejection was something he didn't handle well. Jaguar made it clear that if Aaliyah didn't want him, he wasn't about to take no for an answer. To let that slide, he had a reputation to protect and wasn't about to let her slip away. And as she started spending more time in New York, he was very right there. She didn't want that. She didn't want that with him now, while Dame Dash and Jaguar Wright have given us some serious insight into Jay-Z's tactics. We can't forget about Nas, who actually hinted at some pretty disturbing things in his own music and interviews months after Jay-Z's infamous album, The Blueprint, dropped. Nas was deep in his beef with. Or was it simply a matter of Aaliyah feeling trapped in a toxic situation? It's easy to see how she could have been manipulated by the men around her. At the time, Aaliyah was a young woman trying to navigate her career, her trauma, and her place in the world. She didn't have the power to say no to Jay-Z, especially when he was so deeply embedded in both the industry and her life. And remember, Dame Dash wasn't the only one who noticed this. Aaliyah's inner circle was aware of Jay-Z's advances, but Aaliyah kept it quiet. She didn't.
Yeah.
Aaliyah didn't want to make waves, and she didn't want the public to see her as damaged goods. Dame, who was deeply protective of Aaliyah, saw right through Jay-Z's actions. She didn't want to deal with the drama from the past, and she told Dame, leave it alone. Dame respected her wishes no matter what. Her wish was clear: leave it alone, let me heal, let me rest, let me live. I'm in love, let's just enjoy this. It's evident that Aaliyah didn't want to be involved with Jay-Z in the way he wanted, but pressure, the manipulation, and the power dynamics made it hard for her to escape. In some ways, she was forced into the relationship whether she wanted to be or not, and that's what makes this situation so much darker. As if things weren't messy enough, we have to talk about the aftermath. Aaliyah's tragic in 2001 was a blow to Jigga, and trust me, he didn't hold back. In an interview with Wendy Williams, Nas straight up called Jay-Z out for his connection to R. Kelly, suggesting that both Jay and R. Kelly had a thing for young girls. NZ basically called out Jay for being fully aware of R. Kelly's inappropriate behavior in the studio, even claiming that Jay-Z must have seen a 14-year-old girl walk into the room and sit on R. Kelly's lap. So now we're at a crucial point to consider: was Aaliyah forced into a relationship with Jay-Z? Claimed that Jay-Z was involved in her death, allegedly pushing for her to get on the plane despite her reluctance. The chilling rumor is that Jay-Z knew the plane was faulty and still pushed Aaliyah to get on it. Why would he want that? Some say Aaliyah was planning to speak out about the inappropriate advances Jay-Z had made toward her, potentially exposing the forced relationship she was in. The rumor suggests that Sean Carter was behind orchestrating the situation, even allegedly involving Hype Williams to get Aaliyah on that faulty plane as a way to move her out of the way, punishing her for rejecting him. Just months after Aaliyah's death, Dame Dash watched in shock as Jay-Z went on to perform and collaborate with R. Kelly again, despite the allegations surrounding him. This was after R. Kelly's actions had already been widely exposed. Aaliyah's death hadn't even begun to sink in for Dame, but Jay-Z was already moving on as if nothing had happened. Dame was furious, saying it's all Jay-Z. He was still working with R. Kelly, making all those records together. They shared so much in common, yet it seemed like Jay-Z was just moving forward with it. Dame was there to witness it firsthand, and he wanted people to understand that not many knew what Jay-Z was like back then. He saw the dynamics and the disregard for the situation, especially considering the shared history between Jay-Z, R. Kelly, and Aaliyah. Dame Dash had a first-hand account of what Jay-Z was doing and what he was about to do. Let's be real for a second, Dame's fallout with Jay-Z wasn't just about business, it had everything to do with Aaliyah. Everyone was after her, but it's clear that Dame had the upper hand. He went after Aaliyah full force while Jay-Z seemed to be playing the game. To make matters worse, once Jay-Z found out that Aaliyah was feeling Dame more, the tension started to build. The flowers, the grand gestures, everything Jay-Z was doing to court her became more intense as he tried to win her over. Aaliyah was feeling the tension, and both Dame and Jay-Z were going hard to win her over. They ended up at the same house for the 4th of July, but let's not get it twisted, Jay-Z wasn't just chilling in the background. He put in serious effort to win Aaliyah over, but she kept leaning toward Dame. There were moments when she showed some attention to Jay, but Dame was on fire that week. Everything he said was funny and his charm was working. But that didn't sit well with Jay, and this is where things get messy. According to Dame, Jay-Z wasn't just hurt by the rejection, he was bitter. He felt a certain way about Aaliyah choosing Dame over him, and the tension was palpable. Dame even recalled how, one day he came downstairs to find Jay-Z's friends laughing at him. You can imagine how awkward that must have been. But the rivalry wasn't just about the girl, it was also about ego and pride. Dame was taking Aaliyah seriously, while Jay-Z seemed more interested in her for his image. It was tough for Dame as he could sense Jay-Z's frustration, especially the way his friends were mocking him and that's funny, yeah, okay. To this day, Dame still has unresolved feelings about how Jay-Z handled everything now with all the new allegations coming out, like Jay-Z being sued for being a 13-year-old back in 2000. It doesn't feel so far-fetched to think he might have pressured Aaliyah into a relationship. Plus, there's the whole thing with Foxy Brown, who was allegedly with Jay-Z when she was just 15. And there's the question about Beyonce. If you look at the timeline, it seems like she was only 16 or 17 when. So they started dating, and it's starting to look like a troubling pattern. It's messed up, but Dame is shining a light on it. This might be the real reason he and Jay-Z fell out in the first place. Was Aaliyah really forced into that relationship, or is this just another dark Hollywood story we've been ignoring? And how deep does this go? With everything that's coming to light, we need to ask ourselves how many more secrets are hidden in the entertainment world. Drop your thoughts below, smash that like button, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.